All things Mavs.
Mavs fans, what's going on? Welcome into All Things Mavs. Fresh off the Dallas Mavericks' first scrimmage game against the Los Angeles Lakers and the first scrimmage win of the year and the return of the NBA. I'm your host, Jimmy, from All Things Mavs. If you don't know where that bit's from, I'll tweet it out. But Jimmy from LinkedIn. If you don't know, then this is probably just a really awkward part of the podcast for you. But I'm going to keep it going here because the Mavs got a W over the Los Angeles Lakers, 108-104. And listen, I don't care if it was just a scrimmage. I don't care literally at all. It just felt so good to have Dallas Mavericks basketball back. And the Mavs looked good. I mean, the Mavs looked sharp. So I was really excited about it. I want to kind of I'll break down the full box score. So if you can't find the box score, because it's kind of hard to find on the internet right now, I'll give you all the stats. I'll give you my analysis. I'll tell you who I was impressed by, who I was a little bit disappointed by on the Dallas Mavericks, and then also talk about the next upcoming games as well, because there are two more NBA scrimmages for the Dallas Mavericks. So we'll talk about those for sure. So thanks for tuning into the All Things Mavs podcast. And again, Mavs win it 108-104. Let's give you the full box score right now, and then I can kind of go through what I liked and what I didn't like. Seth Curry, as an update here, Seth Curry had 23 points. He had 1 rebound, but he made 6 3-pointers. Definitely one of the shining stars of the Dallas Mavericks. 6 of 6 on his 3-point attempts, and 8 of 8 from the field. Boban, second leading scorer, with 17 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists. He went 6 of 9, nice, from the field and made 1 3-pointer. Of course, Boban threes. Who doesn't love to see him? Luka only played 16 minutes because, honestly, Luka and KP didn't need to play the entire game, but he had 14 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds, hit a step-back 3, made a slam. He had a slam dunk into the open lane. He looked really, really strong, and only in 16 minutes. And there was a point in time, I'm going to pause from the stats update. There was a point in the game where he walked off the court and Casey Smith followed him out. Everybody was kind of freaking out. They thought he might have turned his ankle. They thought he might have had a little injury. Literally nothing. All it was simply just him going back to the locker room and getting a stretch in. So not a big deal at all. Nothing to worry about there. Justin Jackson, 13 points, 6 of 11 from the field. He had 5 rebounds, had a gimme dunk at the end that gave him an extra 2 points, but Justin Jackson, one of my shining stars, played 20 minutes. He looked good tonight. Maxi Kleber had 10 points, 2 of 7 from 3. He wasn't really making his threes all that well, but still scored 10 points. Tim Hardaway Jr. had 8 points in 17 minutes. Kristaps Porzingis also had 8 points in 15 minutes. I'll talk about him a little bit later because he had 5 fouls, so we didn't get a lot of Kristaps Porzingis tonight, but I'm sure that'll change. And from what we saw, I mean, the time that he did play, he was 6 of 3 of 6 from the field, 1 of 3 from 3, but good stuff on the offensive end from him. DeLon Wright, 5 points. Antonius Cleveland, 4 points. Dorian Finney-Smith only had 3 points, 1 3-pointer. 1 basket. It was an and 1 shot, and he knocked down his free throw. Josh Reeves, the Reeves Hive is alive, baby. Played 8 minutes, 3 points for him. And then JJ Barea played but did not score. He had 2 rebounds and 1 assist. The only guys that did not play for the Mavs tonight were Trey Burke and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist because they're still getting their first few practices under their wings. So let's talk about who I was most impressed with. We'll start off with the good here. Number 1, right off the bat, Seth Curry, man. 23 points, 6 of 6 from 3. He was playing out of his mind. Everything he shot, not only was he making just the threes that he just kind of towed the line, his shots were deep. Like, he was shooting it from range, and it looked really, really good. The 2 shots that he had inside looked good too. He was creating his own shot. Everything was going in for him tonight. And if that is what is a sign to come for the Mavs, golly, I mean, the NBA better watch out, man. With Seth Curry at the helm of that 3-point shooting and being able to create his own plays and kind of be that 6-man type, but also, I mean, 6-man type, but he's a starter now. God, he's so good. And he looked so good tonight. That form is so pure. And he was on such a roll before the NBA went on a little break. And if he can hit his stride again and everything just kind of click right back, man, I'm going to be so happy. The second most impressive guy for me was Luka. I mean, I know it's kind of a cop-out answer, but 17 minutes, not even a full 17 minutes, 14 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. He was making passes like he always does, a couple no-look passes to his teammates, pulling down rebounds at a pretty good rate. He was inside, which that was something that was kind of bad for me, was the rebounding, but we'll get to that here in a minute as a whole for a team. 14 points, like I said, and he shot 5 of 8 from the field. Now, Luka, impressive, but we all kind of expected that out of Luka Doncic. But the guy who came in right away and made a huge impact, Boban, 17 points and 13 rebounds, blocked Dwight Howard twice without jumping in the same play, just swallowed him. I mean, it was insane. He made a three-pointer as well. Now listen, I'm always going to temper my expectations with Boban Marjanovic because yes, he's exciting to watch. Yes, he's fun when he's out there, and when things are going right, things are going so right for him. But there are times when Boban can't be out on the floor. It sucks. But there are times when he just can't be out on the floor because he's not fast enough. And that did happen a couple times tonight. Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee kind of beat him up and down the floor a couple times, got behind him on some post-ups and spin-throughs and got a couple nice, easy alley-oops JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard did. But listen, I don't think there are many times in which Boban can't play in the game. Like, I think if the Mavs were playing a team like the Rockets, yeah, maybe not, because there's no one that Boban can guard. Also, there's no one that can guard Boban, but we're going to get killed on the fast breaks against a team like Houston if they go small. But think about it. Any other team in the Western Conference, let's say we get the Lakers. Dwight Howard, someone's got to guard him at some point. JaVale McGee's got to be guarded. Let's say we get the Clippers. If Ivica Zubac is in there, that's a good time for Boban Marjanovic to get some real minutes. Denver, obviously Denver with Nikola Jokic, he matches up really well with him. Nobody matches up well with Jokic, but if anyone does, Boban does in this case for the Mavs. You look at a team like Utah. Now, Utah's a little different. I would rather have KP in there with Gobert, but if you need a big man, that's what Boban can do alongside Gobert. But Utah is a team that, Boban can't play against all that much. But for the most part, man, the numbers that he put up tonight, we're not going to expect that every night. He's not going to play 24 minutes per night when the season gets going. But give me 12 to 15 minutes of Boban every single night against the right teams, and I'm happy, man. 17 points, 13 rebounds, again, a great game for Boban Marjanovic. So those were the three obvious guys that really stood out, that looked good: Luka Doncic, Seth Curry, and Boban Marjanovic. But another guy, and listen, I get it. I always talk about him, and I'm probably too high on him. I probably have too much of a good opinion on him, was Justin Jackson. Now, Justin Jackson didn't shoot it well from three. He was 0 of 3 tonight, and the shot didn't look great. However, Justin Jackson was getting his shot inside. He was driving to the basket well and knocking down that floater that Rick Carlisle himself said is the best floater he's seen in 35 years of basketball. So it was really, really strong. I loved what I saw from Justin Jackson. Defensively, he got beat by LeBron a couple times, but he defended well on the wings most of the time. And if Justin Jackson can just give us 10 solid minutes a night, give Dorian Finney-Smith, give Tim Hardaway Jr., give Luka a break, I'm happy. I think he plays a little bit more than 10 minutes now, and he can handle the ball, too. He looked pretty good handling the ball on the perimeter as well. So, again, 13 points for Justin Jackson, 6 of 11 shooting for him. He missed a free throw, but honestly, really solid night from him. I liked what I saw from him around the rim. So, pretty good night when you look at the guys who did well, but we're also going to talk about the guys who didn't do so hot because there were a couple of them that stood out. Now, Kristaps Porzingis, 15 minutes, 8 points. And when he was in, he was really good. I was happy with what I saw from Kristaps Porzingis. Offensively, he was knocking down his shot. His three-point shot looked a little flat tonight. My buddy that I was watching the game with and I were talking about it. Three-point shot just looked a little bit flat. But all in all, he got his shot inside. He created his own shot a couple times on his own bucket. And he got an alley-oop from Luka. Everyone loves a good alley-oop from Luka. It was an and one. That was really nice early on. But the problem was, the reason he didn't look good is because he had 5 fouls. And 4 of those fouls, I believe it was all 4 of the first 5, came in the first quarter. And this is the thing that Porzingis does. It's so frustrating because he's 7'3". All he has to do is put his hands up, and he's as tall as the basket. But instead, he puts one arm down to kind of give him a little forearm check, and then he puts the other one up, and that always gets him the foul. So that's where I got a little bit frustrated with KP tonight. He wasn't rebounding the ball all that well, but it was the first night back. You're knocking off some rust, and going up against guys like Dwight and JaVale and Anthony Davis, who just absolutely cooked us when he was playing. is tough. So not a bad, I mean, it wasn't bad on the offensive end for him. Defensively, rebounding and fouls, though, not a good thing for KP. Knocking off Russ, though, I'm not going to overreact to a scrimmage game, but definitely something to be aware of is that foul trouble that KP can get into. The only other guy tonight that I was just like, God, can you give us a little bit more, was DeLon Wright. And the thing with DeLon is he wasn't looking for his shot. I mean, he had so many open threes that he just passed up. Or even threes where, yeah, he might have been a little bit guarded, but if he tried to drive, he had enough space to get to the basket, and he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't drive. It was really frustrating. And the thing with DeLon, and the reason I think he's not the full-time starter like we all expected him to be, is that he's not aggressive enough on the offensive end. And if he was just aggressive enough, he'd be fine, but he's just not. So, yeah, disappointing night from DeLon Wright. Again, 1 of 5 from the field, only 1 of 3 from 3, 5 points. He had 5 assists, which is good, but still, you got to have more. You got to give me more, DeLon Wright, offensively. Defensively, looked fine, looked as good as ever. I never expect anything less from DeLon Wright, but if he doesn't have any kind of offensive game, Rick Carlisle just can't keep him in the game. You can't have a guy out there who's not a threat to score the ball, at least from somewhere on the floor. And that's what DeLon Wright was in tonight's scrimmage. So the Mavs do end up getting that win, but they've got 2 more scrimmages left, and we're going to have all the post-game and pre-game stuff for you here on Chat Sports and on the All Things Mavs YouTube channel as well. So make sure you subscribe to All Things Mavs and Chat Sports, and you're following me on Twitter at all_things_Mavs. That next game is going to be July 26th against the Indiana Pacers. It's going to be 3 o'clock Dallas time, so that'll be Sunday afternoonish, and so make sure you're paying attention with us. We'll make sure to keep doing stuff for you there. And then the last scrimmage game before the Mavs get ready for the regular season is going to be July 28th. That's Tuesday, and that is going to be at 7:30 p.m. Dallas time. That one's going to be on Fox Sports Southwest. If you're watching it, it'll also always be on NBA League Pass against the Philadelphia 76ers. So 2 more quality opponents coming up, 2 more teams that the Mavs can really kind of tune up against and get some things going. So all in all, a really solid night, a good win for the Dallas Mavericks. Mavericks basketball is back. That is the most important thing. We got to see Luka Doncic back in action. We got to see Seth Curry draining threes. Boban dominated the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, I do want to point out, we did get the win, but LeBron and AD only played the first half of the game, which is fine. I don't expect them to play every single scrimmage game anyway, but they didn't play the entire game. Kristaps and Luka didn't play that much either, so it kind of evens out in that way. But that's all I got for you. I got all the breakdown, the stats. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to me on YouTube. I appreciate you guys listening and watching. It means the world to me that I get to interact with you guys as a living. I literally get to do this as my job. And you guys supporting me and being able to subscribe and interact with me in the comments and, like all my videos is absolutely incredible. So I definitely want to do a Q&A here soon on the channel and on the podcast. And so the way I want to do that is if you have a question, the way you can get that question answered on the video or on the podcast or on Twitter even is comment #MFFL in the comment section of any video and then ask the question. So leave that in the comment section. Any questions you have about the Mavs, about the NBA in general, we'll get those answered for you as soon as we can here on the podcast and on the video. So guys, thanks for listening and tuning in to All Things Mavs. I'm Jimmy Crowther, and I'll talk to you next time.